Hello everyone, and welcome to Retro Brick Reviews, where today I will be finishing up my review of the LEGO Collection number 71022, LEGO Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts Collectible Minifigure Series. In the first part of this review, I took a look at the 16 Harry Potter figures. So in this video, I'll be taking a look at the 6 figures from the series based off of the 2016 film Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And I'll also be taking a look at the packaging, the pamphlet, the availability of the figures, the distribution per box, and also my personal picks for the best and worst of the series. So, without any more further ado, let's begin with the first Fantastic Beasts figure. So here we have Newton Artemis Fido Scamander, better known as Newt, who is the writer of the textbook Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, as well as the main star of the Fantastic Beasts film series, and in my opinion, this is a very well-done figure. Much better than it really needed to be. I mean, starting with the accessories, you get quite a few. The first of which is this adorable little Niffler. Now, this isn't exclusive, as it also comes in the Newt's Case of Magical Creatures set, but this is just such a good piece to get in the series. I'm so glad it's not exclusive to that. It's a double-molded piece with black and the nougat color, and then you just have 2 eyes printed on it, some cute little paws and feet. At the back, you just have a little tail. I mean, yeah, just such a cute, adorable little Niffler piece. I love it. Then, in addition for Newt, we get his suitcase, which is 2 pieces. We have this main case piece with some gold locks, and then we have the new book cover piece in brown. Kind of would have liked to get a bit of printing on there to show some of the details of the case, but it's alright to not get anything, I suppose. And that means it can open up. Newt's suitcase doesn't have anything in it, although I suppose you could display it maybe with the Niffler in the case if you wanted to. So that's just a potential idea. But it is great it can open, and I imagine that soon we will be seeing this piece in some Legos. I'd imagine some city sets probably for like luggage, and as well as probably some other lines, like maybe City and Friends, just some more standard stuff. And then Newt also gets his wand, which is in dark orange, which he's the only character to get a dark orange wand, so that's pretty uncommon. Just like the Niffler, it's only in this set and the Newt suitcase set, so great piece to get. Removing the stuff around Newt, we can get a better look at the figure itself, where the main issue is the hairpiece. Because just like with the Dimensions Newt, and just like with the Case of Magical Creatures Newt, the hairpiece is so wrong. I mean, there aren't many hairpieces that LEGO makes that are less accurate than this for a character. I mean, first off, Newt has a lot of hair going in his face, and this hairpiece has a completely, clean forehead. And the hair is super spiky, which Newt's hair isn't. It's all sorts of, curly, I guess would be the best way to put it. I mean, yeah, this is a good hairpiece, but it's just not Newt. Now, I feel as though there is a hairpiece LEGO already has in the correct color that would work much better for Newt. That being the shaggy hairpiece from the Scooby-Doo sets. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think it does work a lot better. So if you have one of those shaggy figures lying around from Dimensions or one of the Scooby-Doo sets, I would probably recommend just taking its hairpiece and giving it to Newt, as I think it does make the figure look a lot better. But anyway, switching back to the included hairpiece, I feel as though the face print is probably the best we've gotten for Newt thus far. It still doesn't look that much like Eddie Redmayne, but, well, at least for the 3 smiling Newts, I'd say it's the best. I think that the best face overall is the scared Newt face from the Case of Magical Creatures set. I think that's the only version of his print that actually looks like Eddie Redmayne, in my opinion, at least to a good extent. But this is a pretty good design. The torso, much like Harry's in the Harry Potter side of things, looks very clean, which is good. Your main protagonist should always be one of the best figures. One of the most well done, rather. And this guy is. You have a lot of different colors, none of which are very faded. You have white, dark brown bow tie, orange vest, a little pocket watch, and you even have the Bowtruckle Picket in his pocket there, which is pretty cute. I definitely prefer this version of Picket to the little piece of grass that represents him in the suitcase set. And then for the legs, those are double molded with dark brown on the bottom and dark blue on the top. And there's printing on them to make it look like there's the coat. So between the sides of the blue coat, there's just dark brown for the pants, which is good. You can see the double molding, of course, continues around the sides and back. And Newt gets a bit of back printing, just for the back of his coat. No alternate face, but I think that's fine. So yeah, just quickly giving him his accessories back before I wrap up the clip. That is Newt Scamander, who's not a fantastic figure. There are a couple things holding him back from being one of the best of the series, but he's still a very high-quality figure, very well done, very clean-looking, has some great accessories. So yeah, a very good figure. So here we have Porpentina Goldstein, who, much like Newt, the same outfit that she's wearing in the series was previously made by LEGO in the LEGO Dimensions line for Fantastic Beasts, but much like Newt, this version is vastly improved upon that. In my opinion, even more than Newt was. Starting with the accessories, she gets a brown wand, as well as a hot dog, which is a dark red sausage, which isn't new, but it's not common, as well as the nougat bun, which is a new color for that, and that is just very well done. It's actually my first time getting the hot dog bun piece, and I definitely prefer this color over the light tan, since, I mean, I suppose that if you get the really cheap hot dog buns, they will probably be a really light color, but like most the hot dog buns I buy, for example, are this, like, dark wheat color. So that's a random hot dog ramble, but yeah, it's a good color to get for her New York Frank. Would have been nice to maybe get a bit of mustard on the hot dog, but that's probably impossible, or at the very least extremely difficult to do, so I think it's fine that they didn't do it. Tina has the same hat-hair combo piece that she got in Dimensions, except now, because in Dimensions the colors were completely wrong, she was all gray. Here the hat is now in the accurate dark blue color it was in the movie. And that's just a very well-molded piece all around. You have the hair on the sides. Yeah, something I think is kind of funny is that unlike most other pieces we see in the series that use multiple colors, this piece for Dimensions was originally designed to be just a single color piece with printing for the hair, and it's the same case here. If I take this off, you can see that on the inside, the whole thing is blue. Except on mine, where here you can see that they actually did paint some brown on the inside, but that's just a bit of overspray, I think. But anyway, yeah, so I think it's very impressive how from the front, you can't really see any of the blue showing through. Like, you can a little towards the edges, so it's not as perfect as a double-molded piece, but I think it works very well. Like, the dark brown is the same color as the LEGO color, so, like, you really can't tell unless you inspect it really closely. And anyway, so then you have her face print, and I think this primary one I have it set to, I'm not a huge fan of. It's a little slight smile, but I much prefer the version that comes in the Newt suitcase set, which actually was also the same version that came in the Dimensions set. Interesting how LEGO decided to carry that headpiece through to the main line, while with Newt's they completely made a new one. Then again, I do totally get it, since that Tina head is really good, especially the main smiley face on it. And this face, while I don't like the main smiley face, I do like the alternate annoyed face, which was a really bad part of the 2016 Dimensions head. But I really like it on this Tina. I think it just looks a lot like the actress, whose name is completely escaping my mind. Yeah, I can't think of it. Anyway, so yeah, good face print overall. Again, the happy face isn't that great, but I think this side more than makes up for it. The torso and legs are pretty good. A bit annoying how obvious the cutoff is between the torso and belt, but that really couldn't be helped. The torso is good with the sand blue trench coat and the dark gray main coat underneath. You have a little necklace or locket there. Double molded legs again with the sand blue and black, which is good. On the back, you just have some very simple printing for the back of the coat. So yeah, that is Miss Porpentina Goldstein. Definitely not a perfect minifigure, but I'd say one of the best of the series. Definitely the best Fantastic Beasts figure, in my opinion. But that's Tina, so now let's move on to the next figure. So here we have aspiring baker Jacob Kowalski, who doesn't come with a wand because he is, of course, a muggle. Oh, sorry, I mean no-mage. Yeah, anyway, so his accessory is the suitcase, the same one that came with Newt, so no printing. But the difference here is that unlike Newt's, this one actually does get something inside, because if we open it up, you get a couple of 1x1 round tiles inside. One printed with sort of a, I think that's sort of like a pizzelle cookie, I believe it's called. And then on the other side we have what looks like a cinnamon roll. So those are pretty good to get. Not the most exciting accessories, but I think it works well. And in general, I feel as though not the most exciting, but works well, is a pretty good way to describe this figure in general. As, you can see, the hairpiece is the same one that we got on Cedric, but this time it's in dark brown, which I think works well for Jacob. His face print is a good one. Looks a lot like actor Dan Fogler, who portrayed him. Yeah, I like the eyes, I like the mouth, I like the lines around the eyes and for the chin. Yeah, it's a good face print. Definitely, like, just comparing this to the figure that comes in the sets, this one looks collectible for a face print. Like, it's kind of weird, because, like, and then just the figure in general. Like, even though this is probably one of the simplest figures in the series, it still manages to look really collectible, in my opinion, which I know I haven't really brought up with most of the figures, aside from, like, the main trio and Dumbledore, but, like, that's the thing with a lot of the figures in the series. They look like, only a few of them are, like, super detailed, yet nearly all of them look like super good, collectible, just cleanly done minifigures, which is great. The torso for Jacob is relatively simple. You have the gray suit jacket over the stretched sand blue vest with a very light aqua undershirt and a red tie underneath. At first I thought that the undershirt was supposed to be white and that this was like a printing error, but no, it turns out that the shirt is supposed to be a very light blue. Kind of a weird thing. I didn't even notice it until I was just about to start filming this section of the video. But yeah. So his legs are completely unprinted, as is his back and the back of his face. So yeah, again, Jacob is not the most detailed figure, not by a long shot, but he still manages to be a very well-done figure. And really, what else can I say besides that? So here we have Queenie Goldstein, who, interestingly, comes with the only black wand in the entire series. Yeah, it's kind of weird. You'd expect more figures to have them, but no, Queenie is the only figure in the CMF line to get a black wand. Strange, but okay. Her other accessory is a lot more exciting. It's a new mold for a strudel. And, so yeah, that's a new mold in tan with some white printing for powdered sugar, as well as some, I want to say, nougat and dark nougat printing for just some cinnamon on it, which is very well done. That's my favorite part of the figure, definitely. That's not to say that the rest of the figure is bad. Well, most of it's not, at least. I think the hairpiece is the perfect choice, in my opinion. I mean, just from all sides. It looks like Queenie. That is a great choice for the hairpiece. The face print, though, I'm not too positive on. I don't know. It just doesn't look like the actress who portrayed her, in my opinion. I think it's something about the eyes. Like, I think the mouth is good, but I think the eyes shouldn't be squinty. I think if the eyes were full, the face would look better. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents, though. The torso is pretty well done. I mean, a lot of the detail isn't showing up because it's dark blue on black, but you can sort of see it if you sort of stretch your vision. That made no sense, but you know what I mean. Like, if you look at it closely, you can see that you have black printing on the sides for the negative space, as well as for the, sort of, I guess, the top of the dress. The split between the torso and between the shirt and the dress is what I'm getting at. Anyway, so then you have the metallic pink undershirt, as well as the black bra straps under with the sort of open neck at the top. Good design. The back print continues that. I mean, yeah, it's good figure. Over the legs, I feel are a bit more questionable because they're double molded, and I feel so you have a lot of great printing going along the sides with curving and shimmering sparkles and black lines, but the problem is that, like, you can see that they printed flesh tone onto the legs in an attempt to make them, the blue match up with the flesh. On the blue legs, there are parts that are supposed to be done in flesh. So, but the problem is that the flesh print is a slightly different color than the flesh plastic. You can sort of see here, like, that's sort of just an odd difference, and it gets really odd when you get up here, and, like, the flesh doesn't really carry all the way through. They needed to put an extra coat under there, which is weird, because nearly every other figure in the series, it seems like they did put, like, an extra coat of white, or whatever color they needed, under the plastic in order to make the figure, in order to make the colors really pop and not look faded at all. But on Queenie's torso and on her legs, I don't think they did that, because also the skin towards the neck just looks faded. It doesn't match up at all. See, I mean, and then you can see the skirt, which goes up pretty high on this side. And yeah, there you can just, like, really see it. Like, you have the faded skin tone, then you have the oversaturated skin tone, and then you just have the normal skin tone at the bottom. So the legs are definitely a bit of a disappointment of it, but I do like the design for the skirt, and I really do like her heels. We have the black printed on the front, not the whole way up. You'd have a bit of the top of the foot revealed. And then on the sides, those just slope up. They don't continue around the back, but there's no way they really could have, so that's fine. So yeah, that is Queenie. Definitely far from a perfect figure, but all things told, I think she is still a very nice one. Definitely, in theory, she could have been one of the best in the series if the execution had been a little better. So here we have Credence Barebone, who, of course, is the Obscurial in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And there's a big twist revealed about him at the end of Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, and I'm not going to spoil it for you in case you haven't seen the movie. However, I will tell you that the twist is very dumb and makes absolutely no sense when put into context with other Harry Potter lore. So thanks, JK. Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if JK is intentionally sabotaging her franchise at this point. Sort of like what Disney's doing with Star Wars. But anyway, Credence is a pretty good figure. He's another one like Jacob where he's pretty simple, but he just feels very collectible. Starting off, the hairpiece is nothing special. It's just the classic Ron Weasley original version that he had all the way back. Like, this was the hairpiece made for the original Ron figure in 2001, but molded in black, which isn't exclusive. It comes in, I think, a few different sets. I know it comes in at least the Yellow Submarine for Ringo Starr, and the Quidditch match set from this year for Marcus Flint. And I think it's a good choice, all things considered. Maybe they could have included a new mold for, like, a hat-hair combo, so he could be wearing a little hat like he did in LEGO Dimensions. But I think this is fine, and honestly, the series already comes with a bunch of new molds, so I think it's fine that he doesn't get one since it's not necessary. The face print, I feel, looks a lot like actor Ezra Miller, who portrays him, with the eyebrows, the eyes, the mouth. It's a very good face print. Turning the head around to the back, you can see this alternate face is supposed to be when he's harnessing the power of the Obscurus, which definitely, like, in the eyes, it's not super accurate. Like, I think it should be more like the eyes should be, like, a dark color, maybe, like, dark red with, like, black energy shooting out of them. I think that would be a pretty cool look with, like, like black lightning arcing out. Like, that also wouldn't be 100% accurate, but I think that might get a bit more of the look across. This really doesn't look obscurist to me, but I don't care because it looks really cool. Like, it's just white eyes with a bit of silver shimmery around the outside, but it just looks really cool. I love that face. The mouth here just, it looks a bit angry. Not too angry, but a little angry. Credence's accessory is a 1x2 tile for a pamphlet that says, "Witches live among us." And I like that little print for what I'm presuming is a minifigure of a witch zapping a couple people with her wand. Credence's torso isn't too complex, but it is really well done in my opinion, even if it's not very complex. Again, like nearly every other figure in the series, none of the colors look faded at all. They're all well saturated. I like sort of the white trim for the jacket, the stitching. I like the belt with the buckle. I like the waistcoat underneath and the top. Like, it's just a great figure. I like that print. No leg printing and no back printing, but I don't think he really needs it. So yeah, that's Credence Barebone, who, again, not a super complex figure, but a very collectible one. Good job here, LEGO. So here we have the very last figure of the series, which is Percival Graves, the main antagonist of the first Fantastic Beasts film. And, okay, so I'm going to talk more about rarity and distribution of the figures later, but I think it's important to mention, before we take a look at this guy, that this is the series' chase figure. Most of the figures were 3 per box. This guy, a few were 2 per box. This guy was 1 per box. So I think we have to view it through that lens of this being a super uncommon and rare figure. At least that was the intent. I actually managed to completely accidentally get 2 of them. The first one because I just picked a bunch from the left column of the box, and that's where Graves is. And the second time, I mean, I just kind of got lucky. Anyway, but yeah, this guy is supposed to be a chase figure, so I have to view him as such, on a bit of a higher level than all the others. So does he live up to that? Well, his only accessory is a dark tan wand. So we're off to a great start. I mean, he does get another accessory in the form of a second hairpiece, but we'll look at that later. So his main hairpiece is the Widow's Peak hairpiece in black, with some light gray printing around the sides. So that looks good. Unfortunately, on mine, there's a little bit of a part where the print's missing and you just have a bit of black in there, so that's a bit annoying. And you might think that I could just swap this out for my other hairpiece, but no, because my other hairpiece has the gray around near the front of the hairpiece messy, like here, like on this side, on the front, the gray's just completely not there, so it's just on the side, doesn't carry over all the way. That's kind of lame. I mean, you'd hope that for such a rare figure there'd be better quality control, but I don't really mind that this one just has a little nick out of the back, since you'll always be viewing it from the front anyway. The face print, I feel, looks pretty good for Colin Farrell, who, of course, portrayed him in the movie. I do hope that at some point we do get another expression for Percival Graves, since unfortunately this figure, we do only get one face print for Percival Graves here. Not for the figure, but only one face for Graves. And the reason for that is because if we twist around the head and bring in our alternate hairpiece, the figure can transform into Johnny Depp. No, I'm not calling him Gellert Grindelwald because he looks ridiculous. But yeah, I do hope that maybe it doesn't seem as though we're getting any Fantastic Beasts set in the summer of 2019, so maybe in 2020, when they make the third Fantastic Beasts film, we could maybe get another set for the first movie that would come with Graves. I mean, it's not too high a hope, and I'd imagine that LEGO would probably want to keep the character exclusive to this set, But, it'd be nice to get more expressions for who I consider to be a much better villain than Gellert Grindelwald was in Crimes of Grindelwald. And yes, I know that technically Graves was Grindelwald, but Colin Farrell is just a more intimidating villain than Johnny Depp with bleached white hair and a stupid mustache. But yeah, the hairpiece is just the same Widow's Peak hair, but in white. I don't know why he has white hair. Grindelwald is supposed to be blonde. He doesn't bleach his hair. He has naturally... I think the books even say he has dirty blonde hair, so this is just not good. And then he has one eye, which is gray because he has wonky eyes. He has the hilarious mustache that we all laughed at the first time we saw it in the theater. I mean, yeah, but despite that, I feel as though this does look a lot like Johnny Depp. It's definitely better than the two faces we got in the Grindelwald's Escape set, and honestly, I think it's better than the Jack Sparrow faces, so I'd call this the best Lego likeness to Johnny Depp we've gotten thus far. Too bad it's him looking like a goofy clown man. So anyway, turning that right back around, and yeah, let's be real. The reason this guy is 1 in 60 is because it's Grindelwald. So Lego expected people to be super excited to be able to get Grindelwald. Even though he also came in a $20 set. Although, to be fair, that version was terrible. So this is really the only way to get a good version of Grindelwald. Good meaning a representation of the character. Not good as in a good-looking figure, because Grindelwald looks wonky as heck. Anyway, the torso and legs are very well done in my opinion. The torso has all sorts of good detailing with saturated colors. You have the dark blue scarf, the tie, the undershirt, the vest, coat underneath, as well as the long trench coat. Lots of colors in there and it looks good. Legs are the same. Kind of unfortunate, just a minor thing that I wouldn't normally bring up, but you see how at the legs, at the bottom, you have the dark gray line for the bottom of the coat? I kind of would have liked if they could have continued that onto the side of the legs. Normally it's not a big deal, but again, this guy is pretty uncommon, so I think it would have been nice if maybe they'd gone the extra mile here. But anyway, he does get arm printing for the sleeves, being sort of split, I guess, with the white line down the middle and the two fraying out, which is good. I like that. That's a good print. And around the back, you just have the back of his coat with some dark blue at the top for his scarf. So yeah, that's Gellert Grindelwald, who is, in my opinion, another really fantastic figure. Is he good enough to be worth being only 1 in every 60 packs? It's hard to say, because I would say that this is another one of the very high-quality figures in the series. He's one of my favorites, that's for sure. But at the same time, he's not that great. I will say that this guy is a better 1 in 60 figure than the Policeman from series whichever one it was that came with the Policeman. Because, yeah, sure, that was classic, but it was just such a basic, boring reprint of a figure. At least this guy is new and has all sorts of nice detail. But yeah, personally, I feel as though 1 in 60 is too rare for really any of the figures in the series. None of them feel like a 1 in 60 figure. But I feel as though this guy, if he was 2 in 60, I think that would be fair. But anyway, so that's enough for the Percival Graves figure. So now before we move on to the rarity of the figures in total, besides just this guy, let's talk about the packaging the figures come in, as well as the pamphlet. While I unfortunately, as of yet, haven't been able to attain the collector's box, the display box that these figures come in, I do still have several packets from the series. So here you can see what each one looks like if you haven't seen them yet. At the top left, you have ages 5+ and set number 71022. At the top right, it's limited edition 22 to collect. Lego Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts. At the bottom, 1 Lego minifigure. Warning to warn you not to choke on it. And we have 9 figures displayed at the front. We have Cho Chang, Lord Voldemort, Harry in the Cloak, Newt Scamander, Tina Goldstein, Albus Dumbledore, Dobby the House Elf, Luna Lovegood, and Neville Longbottom. I think overall that's an interesting selection to display. We do have a good selection of some of the really good figures in the series, like Tina, Dobby, Luna, and Neville, who are my top 4 in the series. But I think it's interesting that we are missing some of the ones that you'd think they'd want to display, like any member of the main trio in their robes. Like, we get Harry in the cloak, but you'd think they want to display the robed variant, since those are the main versions, and Cloaked Harry was a rarer variant. But yeah, like, you'd think maybe they'd want to display Graves, since he's the chase figure. You'd think they'd want to advertise him. Anyway, then around the back, we have the pack. It's cut open, obviously, and we just have legal stuff. So yeah, that's the package. Now, as for the checklist, here you can see it on the front side. We have Lego Harry Potter and just the 16 figures listed with all of their stuff included. Unlike some other series, I haven't really been able to discover anything super interesting regarding this checklist. There's no, like, mistakes in the CG or anything. It just shows everything each figure comes with. I guess one thing is that with Harry in the cloak, it does sort of make the inside of the cloak look shimmery, which it's not, only the outside is. And also it shows the cloak being, like, really far open, which, I mean, you can do, but it causes it to be super spiky around the shoulders. So that's a bit of false advertising. But, I mean, compared to the average false advertising we get with a lot of Lego products in the CG renders, I think that's fine. Around the back, we have the 6 characters from Fantastic Beasts, as well as instructions for how to put Harry's cloak on, Luna's skirt on, build Dean's flag, build a mandrake, build a book, and build a suitcase. You know, like, aside from the 2 fabric pieces, you should be able to figure out how to do that, especially the flag. If you can't figure out how to put together the flag, well, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, that is the checklist. So now let's discuss the rarity of the figures. So, the average LEGO minifigure series has 16 figures in it, meaning that LEGO can include at least 3 copies of each figure, and some figures getting even more than that. And if LEGO doesn't give you at least 3 copies in a normal series, well then they're just being pretty mean. A lot of licensed series, such as the LEGO Batman movie series and the LEGO Movie 2 series, have 20 figures, meaning that LEGO should realistically give you 3 of each figure per box, although sometimes they do give you more or less of some figures. In this series, though, we have 22 figures, meaning that there's no way for you to get at least 3 of each, so there are some figures that are rarer. However, the majority of figures in the series, luckily, are still 3 copies per box of 60. So you have a 1 in 20 chance of getting any of these. These figures being Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, Ronald Weasley, Draco Malfoy, Neville Longbottom, Cho Chang, Dean Thomas, Lord Voldemort, Dobby the House Elf, Cedric Diggory, Phileas Flitwick, Alistair Moody, Albus Dumbledore, Newton Scamander, Porpentina Goldstein, Jacob Kowalski, and Queenie Goldstein. And just looking at the selection, I think that for the most part these are good choices to have for being the common figures of the series. And I do want to say that I am glad that LEGO didn't decide to make some figures, like Harry, be, like, say, 4 to a box, and then make more figures be less common. That's something they do sometimes with the series with, like, 16 and 18 minifigures. Like, I remember with Series 17, there were several figures that were only 2 per box, because they wanted to make, like, the boring party boy and girl and the boring brick suit figures be, like, 5 per box each, which was ludicrous. But anyway, so, yeah. Obviously, it's great that the main trio and the 4 main heroes of Fantastic Beasts are each common. Characters like Voldemort and Dumbledore are great, especially Voldemort, since this is currently the only way to get him. If I had to have a couple things to say, I feel as though maybe a few of these guys feel more rare-worthy than some of the 2 per box figures that are actually 2 per box figures. Specifically, I feel as though Dobby, Flitwick, and Moody are 3 characters that aren't super important to the series and have a lot of detail and and they each get a new mold. So I feel as though, like, in fact, Flitwick gets 2, so I feel as though those feel a bit more collectible than some of the actual 2 per box figures. But like, I'm perfectly fine with them being 3 per box. I'm just saying that it's more that I have a problem with some of the ones that are 2 per box being not feeling like figures that should be 2 per box. And case in point, our first uncommon figure of the series, Luna Lovegood, who is a fantastic figure, one of my favorites in the series. In fact, thinking about it, she might actually be my single favorite, actually. And, it's just a phenomenal figure. New hair mold, great face print, great torso, great fabric skirt, great accessory. Fantastic figure, but first off, Luna is one of the main characters of the series, at least from Order of the Phoenix on, of course. And it just feels weird to have her be an uncommon figure, because in addition to being an important character, she's also a fan favorite. There are a lot of people who can relate to Luna and kind of see her as their favorite character. I know she's my favorite character, so it's just, I mean, I guess that might be the reason, because then more people would buy more packs to try and get her, and if she's less common, they have a lesser chance of getting her. But that's just mean, LEGO. Like, seriously, the figures already, there aren't any super common ones. Like, having a 1 in 20 chance of getting the figure you want isn't exactly great odds. So, like, yeah. But then a figure, to contrast this, that I feel is a good choice for a 2 per box figure is Professor Sybil Trelawney, who has 3 new molds, most new molds of, well, any collectible minifigure I can think of. I can't think of any figures that come with 3 new molds besides this one. I'm sure there probably has been one at some point, but I just can't think of one, is what I'm saying. But, yeah, she has some great intricate printing on her torso and skirt. She has great printing on her double molded hairpiece. It's a very collectible looking figure is what I'm getting at. And in a collectible minifigure series, that's good. And she's not a super major character, and, well, I guess she is kind of a fan favorite. And I don't think there's anyone who would go so far as to call Trelawney one of their actual favorite characters. Certainly not their sole favorite character, as she is more of a side comic relief kind of person. So I think she was a good choice for an uncommon. Moving back into the weird choices, here we have Harry Potter, and yeah, Harry Potter is one of the uncommon figures. And yeah, I know that there are 2 Harrys, but still, it's just weird to me. Like, he's the main character. You'd think that the reason they included 2 versions of him was to make it really easy to get. But then they make one of those versions a rare figure, and that's just weird in my opinion. Also weird is the fact that this figure really doesn't feel like a 2 per box either. Like, yeah, he gets the cloak, that's a nice piece. The rest of the figure kind of feels like it could have just been in a normal set. Like, yeah, the foot printing is nice, but it's not really necessary. And I mean, the torso and face are completely just normal. No new hairpiece. I mean, like, the cloak is really the only thing that makes this a super amazing minifigure. Like, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but the cloak is what makes it great. And I don't know, I just don't see this as being an uncommon figure. It should have been 3 per box. And, like, again, one of these 3 back here probably should have been more uncommon instead. But anyway, our last uncommon figures, I think another good choice. Credence Barebone from Fantastic Beasts. And Credence is an important character to Fantastic Beasts, especially as is revealed in The Crimes of Grindelwald. He's going to become even more important as the film series goes on. And I like Credence's character, although it is a bit annoying how he kind of flip-flopped motivations between the 2 movies, where now he has, in the second movie, he has completely different goals and allegiances. It's kind of poor writing, but let me rephrase it. I liked Credence in the first movie, how about? And, I mean, yeah, he's a pretty simple figure, but he is very collectible. Like, before I got this guy, I thought it was pretty boring, and I didn't understand why it was so uncommon, but having him in person, he just looks really good. Like, especially the alternate face that I have now. The torso is just super clean. I like the accessory. Yeah, he's a good choice. But then, the figure that's kind of infamous within the series, the 1 in 60 chase figure, Percival Graves. And yeah, is this guy good enough to be a 1 in 60 figure? No. I mean, he's still a great figure. In fact, I would call him one of the best of the series, probably. I mean, he's just super high quality. He has 2 great face prints, 2 good hair pieces. Well, 1 good hair piece and 1 Count Dooku hair piece, but still. Fantastic torso, leg, arm printing. Just a very well done chap. But I feel as though only, like, very special figures should be 1 per box. Like, I guess the policeman from series whatever, 17, 18, whatever one was the one with all the costume figures, and obviously the policeman. I feel so even that, like, that was special, but the figure was just a reprint of a classic one, so I feel as though, like, if you're gonna have a chase figure, it should be something really special. Like, I remember originally when this series we were first getting some early rumors, there was a rumor that there was going to be an invisibility cloak Harry figure as a 1 in every 4 boxes. So 1 in every 240 packs would be one of these guys. Not these guys, but like a Harry figure that has the invisibility cloak printed on transparent plastic. So he would be a wholly transparent minifigure, which is something that I kind of wish LEGO would actually do. And I understand why we can't have fully transparent minifigures. At least I'm pretty sure it's because the plastic is weaker, so the joints could end up breaking. I think that's the reason. I'm not positive, but I think that might be it. It could also be the same reason why we never see, like, clip pieces or hands in silver, because I think that's another plastic that's a lot weaker. But anyway, but yeah, I feel as though, like, this guy could be uncommon, like a 2 in 60, but I feel as though 1 in 60 is a bit steep. So, if I were to redistribute the figures, how would I do it? So, to start with, Luna and Harry are back at 1 in 60, but my big change wouldn't be just to do that. My change would be instead of having 17 figures that are available 3 in 60, 4 2 in 60, and then 1 in 60, I would just have 16 that are 3 in 60 and 6 that are 2 in 60. So you have some more uncommon figures, but you don't have any that are super hard to find. They're going to shut people out from collecting the whole line. So for the 2 in 60s, I would have Credence, Graves, Trelawney, Dobby, because again, while I love Dobby and he's a great character, he doesn't have a huge role in the movies, and he has those, and he's just another great figure. So I could see him being a chase figure. In fact, when they first announced that there were going to be when obviously we got that there were going to be 22 figures, and therefore some figures had to be only 2 per box, I figured that Dobby was going to be one of them, and I was a bit surprised when I found out he wasn't. Anyway, then Flitwick, who is a pretty minor character, and he looks great, and I think a lot of people like his design. He's a great figure, so I think that would be a good choice for a chase figure. And then Moody, a character who I imagine won't stay exclusive to this series forever in the new line. Same with Trelawney, in all honesty. Maybe even Dobby as well. Like, I feel as though of these, they're all characters, not just with these 6, but in the series in general. Every single one of these characters does have a chance of getting reprinted in another set at some point in time. Not the figure itself, but the character. Like, obviously, I think it's pretty clear that at some point we're going to get a new Neville and a new Luna. Like an older Neville and just Luna in a different outfit. I imagine that in the Goblet of Fire or Order of the Phoenix sets, we'll probably get a Cho with a more accurate skin tone, maybe. Probably in Goblet of Fire, since, I mean, there is rumored to be a Yule Ball set, as well as a set that's going to be a Triwizard Task, which I'm thinking could be a Rescue Under the Mer People, and, you know, both of those would be good places to get a new Cho. Dean Thomas probably won't get remade, but Voldemort definitely will. Dobby will. Most likely, I mean. Trelawney has a chance. Cedric probably will get another version. Flitwick always has a chance. Mad Eye, I think, has a really good chance when they get to, like, Order of the Phoenix. I feel as though they would probably do a simpler version of him in Grimmauld Place, where we just have 2 Mad Eye faces, probably not double molded legs. Maybe they would just go back to him just having a single peg leg in silver. I don't know, I think that would be interesting. Then again, this is just speculation. And then, I mean, Harry and his cloak is probably going to remain exclusive. And, well, again, Dumbledore's another one that I, like, there's no way we're not going to get another version of Michael Gambon's Dumbledore. It'll probably be simpler, it probably won't have the hat, and it'll probably just have normal minifigure legs, but it'll be similar to this. And then for Fantastic Beasts, obviously, we've already gotten these 4 guys in the back again. We're basically, like, there's no way we can not get a new figure of Credence when we get new Fantastic Beasts sets for the 3rd movie in 2020, since he's shaping up to be a major player, really, of the whole series. Graves is the only one that I think has no chance of being remade, which might be why LEGO chose him to be the chase figure, because if you're thinking ahead, he's gonna end up being the one that has no chance of being re-released. Like, unless LEGO decides to go back and make more sets for the first Fantastic Beasts, which, judging by the fact that LEGO is not doing that at this summer, it just seems kind of unlikely. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents for these figures. I mean, I know I spent way too long talking about just how they could all be re-released, but I think it is important to think about that all of these figures do have a chance of getting another version released sometime in the future. So if you miss out on one of these guys that's one of your favorite characters, it's probably not the end of the world. There will be another version at some point. Unless, of course, there's not. So yeah, food for thought, I guess. But yeah, so overall, I guess that's really all I have to say in terms of objective, and a heck lot of subjective on the series. But now for the ultimate thing. Time for me to pick my favorites and least favorites and my recommendations. Starting off, just in terms of the figures themselves, my favorites are, just, I guess, starting at the back, Tina Goldstein, why did I say Draco? Neville, Luna, Graves, and Dobby. If I had to pick 3 figures that I think could be made better, they're Queenie, just because the leg printing is a bit lackluster, and the face, like, if they just didn't have the eyes squinting, she could have been a lot better. Draco, because, I mean, the line next to his mouth, and he should have mid-legs. Like, even if he's not in robes like Harry, Ron, and Hermione, which I think he should have been, even if he is still in Quidditch outfit, this figure is still kind of lame, because he should have mid-legs, and the face, again, it was so close to being perfect. And then Cho, who just has the wrong skin tone, and it's weird in a series where we have so many figures that look like they could be in sets, but are just a step of quality higher than the ones in sets. A figure that looks like it could literally just be in a set. Also, that skin tone is just, like, awful. But yeah, so for figures that I think have the best parts, like the best part packs, I think Neville's a really great one because of the new parts for the Mandrake. I feel as though Newt is a great one to get because you get the Niffler and the case. Those are a few new pieces. Trelawney's great for the cup and saucer. Dobby has the book and the sock, which are pretty useful. Megaphone and bow tie with Flitwick. Yeah. And then just, I really don't have anything else to say. So those are just my recommendations for my personal favorite figures of the lineup. And that is my review, which by this point will be nearly 2 hours long, so let's just wrap this up. So thank you all so much for watching this insanely long 2-part review of this minifigure series that I've spent so long collecting, and I'm so glad to finally have it finished, since now with this, since I have every other set, I have successfully 100% completed the entire LEGO Harry Potter 2018 lineup. And it's just such an amazing feeling to be able to say that, because I remember when these sets were first revealed back in, I want to say the Great Hall was revealed all the way back in, like, February of last year, or March, nearly a year ago at this point. It was March, I want to say. So nearly a year ago at this point, and it's just so great that I watched the sets get revealed, constantly searched for leaks like an absolute hooligan. The sets came out. I made analysis videos on them before that. I made reviews on the ones I could get after that. I'm currently still working my way through reviewing a few of them, like I still have to get through Newt's Suitcase, the Bricktober set, Nanoscale Diagon Alley, and Of course, nanoscale Hogwarts, and also the little trolley poly bag. But it just feels so great, since, like, those were all, like, get them, yeah, build them a few times, actually. In fact, the only one I haven't built more than once at the moment is the Hogwarts Castle, for obvious reasons. So yeah, but it just feels great, because unlike the rest of those, I've been collecting this series bit by bit since July. And that is just, it's been over 6 months. Over half a year I've been collecting this series. And I'm just going to keep blathering on unless I just awkwardly cut myself off. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I normally don't shill for my channel by telling you to comment, like, and subscribe, because that stuff is self-explanatory. And I'm going to continue not to tell you to comment, or like, or subscribe and hit that bell to get all the notifications for my channel. And, you know, just tune in next time to see what else I've got. Where am I going with this? Oh, yeah. So, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope to see all of you in my next one. Farewell, everyone.